Today's AskReddit post. What's the weirdest non-illegal fetish? Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. That guy who ducked his car from TLC, and the guy who ducks a Ferris wheel, and that woman who became both a master swordswoman and archer by ducking her sword and bow at different points in her life. She also ducked the Eiffel Tower. NGL, I don't have a dick, and sounding still seems painful and scary. Edit. Found out sounding is just putting thing inside urethra. No dick required. Ouchie. Apparently you can still do sounding without a penis. It still just goes into the urethra. The more you know. You can also put them through a cervix. Obviously for insertion of objects into internal organs such as bladder and uterus, a septic technique is very important. Those giant amounts of food being eaten really sloppily mukbangs. I ducking hate seeing half-chewed foods coming out of people's mouths. Have some manners for God's sake. Also not taking into account the ginormous food waste. I generally ain't no bitch about someone not finishing their plate. But there's a huge difference between leaving a few pasta behind and straight up throwing up kilograms of food once the recording's done. And this is yet without accounting the food left behind at the end of the video anyways, which is still way higher than an unfinished plate. Political mind break is pretty weird. It's a specific type of BDSM where the dom brainwashes the sub to change their political views. So intercourse with a side of intellectual discourse, or the rantings of a Twitter maniac depending on who it is. I think any time I've stumbled across it is pretty much exclusively being brainwashed to be more right wing, and not the fiscal responsibility type. The people who eat poop, like literally eat their own poop, unintentionally came across a video of this on Twitter with absolutely no warning whatsoever, and it has ruined my year so far. I was stalking an NSFW user on my porn account, and she had photos of herself completely covered in her own filth. Immediate boner loss, and I put my phone down in disgust. Fart fetish, because how do you not laugh? Sounds like someone found Brazilian fart porn. I found that stuff because of that time they referenced it in South Park and Randy Marsh was watching Brazilian fart porn. My best friend and I were like, there's no way that's real. Is it? So we googled it and discovered not only is it real, but the audio they used in the South Park episode was from a real Brazilian fart porn video too. Egg-laying fetish for me. Or simply when girl with a unnaturally dilated anus put things inside of it and then poop them out. A few months ago I saw on Pornhub a girl fisting an entire box of Haribo gummy worms up her ass before pooping them all out. And it wasn't a small box. It was party sized. What the fuck? People are into all kinds of stuff, but eating fesses will always be the weirdest to me. Lol. Amputee fetish is pretty out there. Look, I'm gonna have to cut you off right there. No need to get up in arms about it. The Wonder Bread guy's fetish. I'm convinced attractive young women hiccuping for hours on TikTok is intended for a specific audience. Involves 2 chickens, myself, and hummus. Sounds foul. Quack quack. Anything to do with poop or piss. I like to think there's a wide gap between the two. I have engaged in water sports and enjoyed it a lot, but scat is revolting for me. Yeah, same. I don't even like anal because of the poop, but water sports are fun. I always found cucking to be really weird. Like the thing where your girl gets ducked by another dude and you can only watch. I don't get the appeal at all. I think it's something to do with seeing you're so as attractive and desirable to other people, and probably has something to do with being submissive as well. Maybe? I don't really get the appeal either. That's just my guess. When's the wet floor signs guy gonna show up? Do people on Reddit still remember the rubber duck guy? I'm waiting for them. People who lick/want to lick and drink out of toilets and urinals, especially public ones, like WTF. People that crush lobsters and small animals where it's surprisingly not illegal depending on species, depending on state you're in. Pretty sure that is covered under animal cruelty laws. I do recall someone getting prosecuted for creating crush videos. I'm not into it, thank God. But I had someone talk to me about it once, and I asked a friend. That was a cop, and the cop friend just said, as far as I know lobsters aren't covered in our state. Squat cobbler. Asterisk yo, you know what squat cobbler is? Asterisk. IDK if I understand the question, but seeing pictures of Mexicans holding legit green cards, like diplomas in a graduation setting, gives me kind of a chubby, but not in like a gay way, just in a wholesome patriotic kind of way. This is the funniest poop I've seen on here. 150 years old Annan girl in a 7 years old body. It's okay. The boy looks 7, but being a fantasy world is actually a mature adult for his race, so it's consensual. Cleveland steamer. Is this an if you need to ask you don't want to know case? Yep. Asking into cordial questions on AskReddit. Yeah, I'm no way prude, but there are just so much of these that it is getting boring. Stanley Cups. Those poor NHL fans in Canada have been edged for over 30 years. Those people who wear diapers and pretend to be babies. I try not to kink shame, but that poop just doesn't sit right with me. Pregnant ones always baffled me. And why is it feet are so common, but you never hear about hand fetish? Lol. Hand fetish is absolutely a thing. It's not always, but there is a bit of a tendency for it to be a thing women are real into. But unlike feet, they can get their fill with nice hands just day to day. Pregnancy fetish, the idea of trying to get pregnant, I'd actually say, is about the least weird and most biologically logical fetish there is. People wanting to have intercourse while pregnant is then an extension of that. Saying non-illegal instead of legal. Legal implies there's a law approving it vs the lack of a law banning it. I didn't see this after a bit of scrolling, so here's one I'm not sure has been commented yet. Acrosomophilia. Acra fetish for amputees. Weird. Absolutely. Illegal? No. Commonly known. Not as far as I'm aware. Man. I feel like when we start getting cyberpunk style bionic poop, that is going to get a lot less strange and a lot more common. Belly punching can be one of the, hopefully not combined with a pregnancy fetish. Would that be a living pinata fetish? Why are all the r/AskReddit questions on my feed NSFW? Findom has to be the weirdest. Being domed by Finnish people. Spanking with Sornavita while dressed as a Mumamama. Those animal genital shaped dildos. While I do agree that the look of them is always such a turn off for me, I can admit that I bet quite a few of them feel so good. The shapes are always so unique and have so many different textures. I get why they would be popular despite the look of them. Weirdest one I've heard of is someone who enjoyed getting burned. They had this entire grid pattern worked out all over their body and had a few different objects that they'd head up and give themselves first degree burns with, and for special occasions they'd give themselves more severe burns. It stopped when the person in question starting having trouble moving one of their arms due to scar tissue around the elbow. Vor. Children's feet. Dansknider. Ayo, that's vile. A beater's fetish. It's like a foot fetish, but you're from Europe. I lolled. Cartoon characters. Usually from the Sonic the Hedgehog universe. Transforming into urinals. Okay, that just sounds funny. Like throw on poop-tea video quality and meme sounds and you've got a meme template on your hands. Stepping on insects to crush. That's vile and unacceptable. And I guess this still technically counts as a fetish, regardless of ethics or legality. Asking NSFW questions on AskReddit. I saw some really ducked up porn about straight superiority on Twitter where it's basically gay guys giving a lot of money to straight guys and treating them as someone superior. They go as far as selling the stuff, ruining their lives, and gooning all day to straight men. Really disturbed me. I even saved it lol. Those dragon dildos, where you can put an egg inside it, and when you're using it, you insert the egg in you. I ran across it one time, and I was absolutely horrified. Thank you Reddit. I'm out here for the day. You could say legal. Breeding fetish. To the point where you knowingly raise another guy's child with your wife. Over the years I have learned to not kink shame, and I developed a good understanding how people like certain stuff. But this one is really my line. Go ahead and fart on cakes. Watch people pee and cook stuff with it. Get waterboarded during an orgasm, or put 9-inch nails through your own testicles. If you want to, but to raise another person's child and probably not even tell him/her just because you get off over it is just wrong and irresponsible. I agree with that. As soon as your kink starts involving unwilling participants, it's got to stop. I'm a cam girl, so have heard about a lot of fetishes, and the weirdest was a newspaper fetish. Girl of age 17 year 11th months 30 days 23 hours 59 minutes and 59 secs. Any psychologist here? When is a kink something that is abnormal and a mental illness and not a fetish anymore? I'm not a psychologist. I hope one answers this better, but it is known that some kinks can sometimes be caused by trauma. Correcting people's non-incorrect grammar. No fetish is illegal. There's no laws that forbid thoughts, they only forbid actions. This isn't 1984 y'all. Fetishes should never be weird unless it's illegal. Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.